Assalamu alaikum everybody, peace be upon you. Again, Investigate Islam Exposed. But I want to mention something before I start, since he started generalizing Muslims by saying that Muslims don't know anything about Allah, about their God and things like that, and start doing something like generalizing all people, like all Muslims, like that person who was in his room. Okay, if I want to generalize like him and judge all Christians according to one stupid Christian, I can do a good job, better than his job. Anyway, so first of all, we cannot generalize by one example, okay? And I will explain everything about 60 legs, and we will see who has 60 legs, Allah or Jesus. Alright, now we are talking about this verse, the same verse that he was quoting from, chapter 68 from the Quran, verse 42. The day that the shin shall be laid bare, and they shall be summoned to bow in adoration, but they shall not be able. This is the English translation. He was interpreting Quran according to what he understands, but as usual he is stupid, he doesn't understand. So we are going to take the interpretation from the same website. Okay, this is the interpretation. Here we go. I'm going to copy this interpretation and go to Google Translation, paste Arabic to English, translate. Here we go. This is translation. The Almighty said, this is the verse. For sure it's not accurate, but it's okay. They reveals, like claiming to be unable to sujood. Sujood means prostrating. That means the verse means the day of judgment, and where the horrors of the earthquake and woes and exam. So that means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was using a parable or a figure of speech. In Arabic we have a figure of speech. If somebody will strip his chin, that means he is going to show you something incredible. Like if he is going to beat you, if he is going to fight with you, if he is going to do something to you. So those people, they won't be even able to prostrate from the greatness of the day of judgment. That what it means exactly. Okay, like many figure of speech in English, there is a lot of figure of speech in Arabic. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about that inshallah. Okay, so follow up with me. There is a literal verses in the Quran, and there is a verses like a figure of a speech in the Quran, or it has different meanings. Okay, not all literal. Anyway, so I am going to let you know that the word strip the chin or make the chin bare, it's Arabic figure of speech. Why? Because Arabs back then, they used to wear long robe. So if somebody wanted to tell somebody else that he is going to do something great or something like that, okay, he will say I'm coming or things like that, he will strip his chin so he can run or he can walk. or things like that. Okay, I'm not saying that Allah has a robe. I'm not saying that Allah has a chin. No, but he is saying that to let people understand what he is saying, since it is the figure of speech of those people, Arabs back then. Now let me explain to you why figure of speech, we can use figure of speech without having those things. Example, if we have somebody is gossiping somebody else, backbiting somebody else, okay, and talking bad about him or things like that, okay, and himself is doing as just as bad the other one, okay, what you will say? Will say the pot is calling the kettle black. Now tell me, is the first person a pot and the other one is a kettle? Is it necessary for both of them to be black? No, this is a figure of speech. We say this figure of speech for people, but it is a pot and kettle. Okay? Something else. We say sometimes what's good for the goose is good for the gander. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Now if I said to somebody, okay, you are going to make YouTube video, I am going to make a YouTube video. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, or things like that. I'm not sure if the goose is female or male. Anyway, so I am not a goose and him not a gander, and when you say this parable, or when you say this figure of speech, you don't mean that you are a goose and the other one is a gander. We would say, for example, somebody stuck up under somebody's ass. Okay, that doesn't mean that the first one stuck up his head inside the ass of the other one. No, that doesn't mean that. That means that somebody follows somebody else, that somebody is trying to think that him, trying to pretend that him, like him, act like him, think like him, like if he doesn't have a brain. Okay, that doesn't mean literally that somebody stuck up his head inside the asshole of somebody else. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to us in a figure of speech. He is saying, strip the chin. That means that from the greatness of the day of judgment, okay, the doom in the day of judgment, the paradise in the day of judgment, the hell in the day of judgment, so on and so forth. Okay, all those things, they are great. Okay, and in our countries, Arab countries, we say, I'm going to strip my hands. Okay, strip my hands if somebody is going to fight somebody else. Okay, maybe the first one, okay, doesn't have even clothes. Maybe he is naked and he is saying, I'm going to strip my hands. He will say that just like a figure of speech, that I'm coming to beat you up. Okay, so in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that the day of judgment is very great. So from the greatness of the day of judgment, people cannot even prostrate from the greatness of the day of judgment. Another figure of speech that people use sometimes if someone is bullshitting, that you will say, okay, let me get my boots on to wade through his bullshit, right? This is a figure of speech, because you are not gonna get your boots on and there is nothing like shit. You are going to wade through this shit. Okay, this is a figure of speech. Even if you don't have boots, you will say that, right?